Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina. And getting to a late video today because I've had a crazy day that involves working with HVAC men and dealing with a blown tire on the side of the road. But that's a story for another day. So I thought we would get back to the end of our intro to crochet that I usually do in my shop. I teach you all the way from chaining through double crochet. And this will be part 4 of our series, teaching you how to do a double crochet like this. I really like double crochet because it is twisty and tall and pretty, and it gets you places faster, and it just looks really nice. So, let's get to it. So double crochet. First of all, it's taller than a single crochet. And to do that, to make that happen, there's some prep work. You yarn over before you start the stitch, or to start the stitch. To make it taller, you need to add things to the needle before you start. Now I'll get into the specifics of that in a second, but what I want to do for right now, before I show you how to make it, I want to show you what one looks like. So the front of the stitch, when you're looking at it, I'm going to shade in the parts that are the yarn. That I should start off by saying, if you remember from our old videos, I had the adage you need to go up, and I should make my letters clearer, go up to go over. This is a higher stitch, so you need to go up more. So this part right here is a chain 3. To give you the height to make room. On the single crochet, we just chained 1. Now the stitch itself, you end up with a V along the top, some twisty parts going down the front when you look at it in the front, and a hole in the center. So it's a bunch of twists, and there's a hole. And when you're looking at it from the front side, that hole will look like it is sticking off to the right of the twist. This twist, by the way, is called a post. This area in here, the tall part of it, is called a post. It makes it much easier to count double crochet, by the way. So this with the post and the hole that's off to the right, I like calling that a P, because it kind of looks like the letter P. Now the back, when you flip it around, so that's what it looks like when you're doing the row. The ones you finish will look like P's. From the back, when you look at the same stitch that I just colored in there, when we flip it around, first of all, the back will look a little chunkier than the front side. The front looks very twisty and nice. The back looks a little chunkier. Honestly, a lot of the times you can't really tell the difference from far away. But the back, if we're still looking at that same post, the hole will now be to the left of the post, and so I think it looks more like a Q. So I'll call them my P's and my Q's, depending on what side, so I can tell what is what. Now to do our stitches, our steps of a double crochet, we'll see if we can color code this the way we did our single crochet. When you're starting the row, you need to chain 3. And that chain 3 only happens once. So I might call that A. That's only going to happen once. And then B are the steps you're going to repeat to make your double crochet. Step 1 is you're going to yarn over. You're going to take the yarn, which at this point will be hanging right here, and you want it, remember, a yarn over always comes over the back of your hook. So you're going to take that yarn over the back of your hook, take it over the back, and since it's set up, it doesn't get caught in the hook. So I'm going to quickly draw that in. If he went over the top of your hook and down, he'd be right there. And then we actually do want to keep him out of the way. So we're going to hold him to the back. So what that looks like, see if I can sketch that in real fast. That's going to look like this. And I'm going to give him a color. Let's start with pink. So our yarn over is pink. All right, and I'm right near the Conisty fire station. So if you hear some sirens in the back, something's going on back at the station. All right. Oh. Next, in a double crochet, so here's what it looks like. Remember, let me color code that part. I'm only going to color code this part right here because that's going to change in a second, where that yarn is in a second. Step 2, you are going to go into the hole, into designated hole, yarn over, pull up a loop. All right, I just waited until that fire truck went by because he went right by my house. So, pulling up a loop, for the very first stitch, you're going to skip this chain, counts as the post for this guy. So you're going to skip the first hole. I may write that in later over here for our final picture. And we're going to go into this hole. Let me make him red. We're doing our motions in red. So you're going to go into that hole. And you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I could draw out all steps of that. But instead, I'm going to try to indicate that with an arrow here. You're going to go into the hook, into the loop, like into that space, yarn over, bring your yarn over the hook like we did up top, and pull it back through. Since that is pretty complicated to try to draw and smush, and I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible, we're going to move on to the next drawing, which shows what it would look like once you had done that. So we have our original yarn over, which looks like it's stretched into that space, and gone in and yarning over and pulling it back up. Let's make that one green. All right. And there goes another fire truck by. Something's happening. I hope people are okay. Can't be ready for outside noises. Can't predict that very much. So I've had about 3 fire engines go by. So step 3, once you've pulled up a loop, and you only pull up through what you push through. If we can go back and look at step 2 a little bit, that is exactly the same as a single crochet. From here on out, it's kind of like a single crochet, in that in a single crochet you yarned over and pulled through 2 loops. Here we're gonna yarn over and go through 2 loops. This is where I call it doing sets of 2. You're going to do sets of 2 until you're done. So yarn over and go through 2 loops. We have 3 loops on the hook. So if we do our yarn over here, if we draw that in, you bring your yarn over and let it get caught in the hook, and you're going to pull it through only 2 of them, not through all 3, through only 2, and stop. I call it settling it back on the workspace before you continue. So let's give this a color. How about orange? When he gets pulled through only 2 and you stop, it's going to look like the picture down here. Remember, my other adage, other than go up to go over, is you are done when there is 1 loop on your hook. So there's still 2. You're not done. So step 4 is another yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So if we put another yarn over in here, and that yarn over is going to pull through 2 loops, and when it does that, there'll only be 1 left. I'm going to give this some color coding so we can see what's going on here. So the orange guy is here. If I'm not mistaken, our first yarn over is this one, in case you were interested, and the green guy's down at the bottom. This is the loop that we pulled up. Mostly. I mean, a little bit of this construction could be, you know, so we kind of keep track of what's going on. But this, our final yarn over here, let's make him blue. If the final yarn over that's going in there is blue, here's our finished stitch. All those twisties that we mentioned before, with yarn coming off the back, ready to do our next stitch. Here's that last yarn over. Here's the yarn over before that. Here's the first yarn over before we started. And there's step 2. That part's clear because that's the original stitch we started with, the original loop we started with. That was on the hook when we started. There's all the pieces of it broken down. Now our next stitch, remember I said before we skip the first hole only the first time because our beginning chain counts as our first post, even though it doesn't look anywhere near as pretty. So this was our first one, and we skipped one over here. I'm going to put a slash through that. Our first stitch went into this space. Our second will go into the next one, and you'll just do every single one across if you're just doing a row of double crochet. So I will put here, repeat B, which is steps 1 through 4. Let's see it in real life now that I've taken all this time to do colors and craziness. Let's see what it looks like when you're really doing it. Okay, so here is the sample we had last time with the single crochets. And I'm going to turn it around so that I can work back across, and I'm going to set my tension. Palm up. Yarn goes between pinky and ring finger, wrap around my pinky, over my ring finger, and pull behind the other finger so I can flip up and start to do it. All right? So I said we have to go higher for this, so we're going to chain 3. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Remember, if you hold right underneath, yarn over, pull through. You can have a little more control. Okay, so again, even though this doesn't look super pretty, it counts as our first post. So if we follow it down, this first hole I'm going to skip. I'm going to eyeball the second one. This only happens once right when you start. So prep work. Yarn over to start. Then I'm going to go into that second hole. I'm going to push through from front to back. Yarn over the hook and pull back up and settle in the workspace. I have my 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through only 2 and stop and settle. Yarn over, pull through 2 and stop. I'm down to 1 loop. I have finished my double crochet. To do the next one, I can yarn over to start. Then if I look at this post, it goes into this hole. So I'm going to move over a hole. That's where I'm going to go. I push in from front to back, yarn over, and pull up a loop. I try to keep my work moving as little as possible so I don't get confused on this. Then I yarn over, do sets of 2. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2. Yarn over to start, follow that post down, find my next hole, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2, and I'm done. Thanks for joining us on the 4th part of our intro crochet videos, and this was how to do double crochet. I finished my row. There is a little trick to when you go back across, since we skipped a stitch on the beginning, to even it out, there's going into the chain on the way back, but this video was already getting a little long. So that may be a video I do on another day, a really short how you balance things out in just a row of double crochet. Contact me if you have questions about that. We can always do lessons on any of this. I have what I consider pretty reasonable rates, and I'm happy to work one-on-one with you over Zoom or FaceTime. And may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. That is the point of all this. Do some fun things. Make some baby blankets or scarves once you get all this down. So follow all 4 steps of our beginning crochet and just practice for a little bit. I often have people come to my intro lessons and say, "What are we making?" Like, we're going to make a hat or gloves or something by the time they leave. And I say, "We're practicing stitches." Because that's really the first step in your journey. And I think it's a really fun one. And I hope you'll stick with me on it. So subscribe, share, comment. I was losing my train of thought. You know, spread the word about this. If you really like these videos, help more people find them. Like I've already said, may your crafting journey be filled with joy and confidence. And I hope to meet you in virtuality or in real life sometime soon. Have a great day. Kitty. Hi. Yes. Was Mommy not paying attention to you today? Oh. So you snuggled in right behind where I'm usually filming. Good job.